Hi everyone, my name is Alisa Tilsner and I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator in Australia. Today we're going to be making a card featuring the Nature's Prints bundle. So in this bundle we're not going to use the whole suite, we're just going to use parts of the suite. So we'll be using the Nature's Prints stamp set. I have to find the name for this one. These are the matching dies that go with them and they are called Natural Print dies. And then we have a fern embossing folder that we're going to play with as well. I actually have a class coming up at the beginning of May, 1st of May, and we will be using the designer series paper for the class as well, but that's in blues. So I thought let's get out of our comfort zone, get away from the designer series paper and play with some other colors. So today we are going to be playing in greens. So I'll show you the card first, just in case you want to see. So this is the one that we're going to make. And as I created more with it, it became more of a masculine card. So the more I created my card, the more masculine it became. So we are going to be creating that today. So I do have all of I'll get them out of the way. I do have a lot of my stuff already done. Prepared on blocks, not stamped or anything like that. So we will be using some basic white. I've got all my blocks. Look, I'm a little bit organized today, but it's putting me out because I'm so organized. So we'll be using soft, succulent and evening evergreen. So I love the big maidenhair fern in this set. It is just gorgeous. And this set I have found every time I've made a card with it, I feel like I want to layer things up. So it's really good if you're into layering. I'm just trying to find an angle where I can fit all of that on. I struggle sometimes with layering lots and lots of different elements, but these seem to become like quite easy. Everything just sort of wants to fall in place, which I love, and it makes your card making very easy. So I've created a few times with this stamp set now. I've created 6 cards for the class and I've created one for the video. We'll be doing another card using it for my live tomorrow, Thursday. So hopefully you can join me. I go live every Thursday morning at 10 a.m. in Australian Central Standard Time. Don't worry about the little bit of like shadowing that I've got. It's just caught on my rubber because I'll be die cutting that anyway, so that's fine. Okay, so I think that's all I need for these pieces. I am going to use a sentiment, which I'm going to die cut. So I think I might emboss that right now so that I can die cut everything together. So for this one, we'll be using our Versamark. Nice and sticky pad if you haven't embossed before. Versamark is a sticky ink and we stamp with it. You won't be able to see what you've got going on there. If you turn it to the different lights, you can actually see where you've stamped. And then I'm going to be using white embossing powder. The embossing powders come in a range of different colors. We have black, clear, and then we also have a metallic range, so gold, silver, copper, and they can be purchased in packs. So we have a basics and a metallics. So this one is from the basics. So we want to make sure that we've got nicely covered. Now, sometimes your embossing powder can be in places where you don't want it. So I usually just grab a paintbrush and just flick off areas that have gone a little bit stray, but I will be die cutting it, so it doesn't matter too much if it's on the outer areas of my sentiment. So then I just funnel all that embossing powder back into my pot. Pop my lid on before I do any embossing because I know me and I can sometimes get into a little bit of trouble. So I'll pop that aside. Now I have got, normally if you've watched my videos before, I have a heat tool that I've had for years, but I have the Stampin' Up one now, so I'm very excited to try this. The differences are it's actually got a protector on the nozzle, so I don't know how many times I've burnt myself. My other one doesn't have this little guard over it, and this one's actually got 2 speeds, whereas my other one was just like full go all the time. So I'm interested to see how my 2 speeds, and it should be a lot quieter as well. So let's emboss this, and it's just a heat tool. You can't use a hairdryer because it's got too much air behind it and it will blow your powder off. So this is just a great heat with less oomph behind it, so less air coming out. So it will emboss your embossing powder really nicely. So let's try the low setting, which I'm really not used to. It's very quiet, so might take a little bit to warm up. Very quiet. This would be good for gilding actually. There we go, now we're starting to. So it's a little bit more controlled than the one that I had before. Now we're nice and warm. So you can see that embossing powder is turning a bit more solid, melting and turning solid. Now there's a very, very gentle heat tool, I can tell you that now. So we'll pop that aside, and so now we've got our beautiful embossed. Do wait a few moments before attempting to touch it. I have caught myself a few times thinking I'll touch it now, and then of course it's still warm and I get a fingerprint in it. So I think that's, no, wait a minute, we need to do a little bit more stamping. We'll do all our die cutting and embossing in one go. So I'll just pop that over there. So while we have the machine out. So on this panel, I am going to stamp some splatters. So I thought this is sort of what probably became a bit on the manlier side of my card. Although I think if you did this card in lighter, I mean, you could do pinks, you can do any colour you like because you're a card maker and you're an artist and you can go wherever you want. So I'm just going to stamp these splatters, which I think are fantastic. I'm going to do them down on the bottom corner, but I think I might actually do a couple just a little bit up in the top corner as well this time, just to see what that looks like. It's almost like a, dare I say, a blood splatter. So we'll put that aside, get all of them out of the way. Okay, now I'm going to get my die cutting machine out because we've got a lot of die cutting and embossing to do. So I may speed up these areas, but you'll be able to see exactly what I'm doing anyway. So I will explain a few things first. So I'll do my embossing first. So for my embossing, this is the cut and emboss machine. I require the base pad, which is a number 1, and then I also need a number 4, which is your solid grey. Okay, this is for a 3D embossing folder. So we have it, and it's all beautiful leaves. So we'll pop our cardstock into our folder, and then we pop that down on the mat, and then we pop our number 4 plate down, and we whiz that through the machine. And then have a look at that. Isn't that just gorgeous? I really, really do. And the 3D embossing folders are just stunning. They've got so much detail in them. So we have regular embossing folders, and then we also have these 3D ones which have got a lot more depth involved in and detail. So we don't need the grey one anymore. Pop that aside. Okay, so when you are die cutting, we have a plate 1, then we have a plate 2, sorry, I can't read. Then we have a plate 3. Now mine have been going for a little while, so they are definitely well cut, and that is totally normal as well. And you can keep going with these to the point where you even can't see through them anymore. You can keep going. So the dies that we have all match our images, so we'll be able to cut these out perfectly. Now if you haven't had a look at a die before, this is them close up. So the cutting edge is this little one here. They're not sharp, they won't cut to you at all, but they will definitely cut through your cardstock under the pressure of the rollers in the machine. So these are the cutting edge along here. So we will hug that around our image. We are getting new magnetic plates in the next annual catalogue out in May, so that is going to be exciting, and I think I will definitely be getting one. So just line up your die and make sure it's hugging your image nicely. Gently pop your lid on, try not to move it. You can use sticky notes. I somehow still manage to get them, sometimes they slip as you're going through the roller. So if you just pop, I find it easier for me to just gently put the second cutting plate on top and it won't shift. Just take your time and be careful with them, and then you get your image beautifully cut out. So that's one of them. I will go ahead, because my cutting plate is definitely cut, these little bits of extra card want to stick to them. So I'm going to go ahead, I will probably speed this bit up, and I'm going to die cut those two images, and I will cut my sentiment as well, and then I will come back and I just want to explain a little bit of something else that I'm going to do, more die cutting but from a piece that is hidden. So I will go ahead and do these, speed them up, and I'll be back shortly. Okay, I just need to get these little bits off because they don't want to come off by themselves. There's lots of cut marks on there and they're sticking. Okay, now I have a panel of bronze, I think it's brushed bronze foil, which is really pretty. Now I'm going to actually do some die cutting on this. You won't see it, but I'm going to use the pieces for my card. So I have two of these pieces here. So Stampin' Up are great, and the ones that they know that we're going to use a lot for layering, they actually give us multiple pieces. So there's actually 3 of these ones as well. I'm only going to use one today. So I'm going to pop them right in the center because you're only going to see the edges of my card. And so that way I can die cut them and no one will ever know. Now another little tip, I'll bring this in because the plate has got lots of texture on it from being run through the machine and having the other side of the die cut impress on it. What happens is this one is nice and smooth, but when you run it through the machine, you actually get a little bit of texture coming on it. Now I don't mind that for this particular card because it has turned into a masculine card and it's just given me a little bit more texture. But if you don't want that, pop down a sheet of paper. Well, let's actually do it and we'll see whether we get a bit of a difference. So we will pop down a sheet of paper. Actually, I should just let me trim that in case I get an impression from where my folded card is. So let's pop that down. Nope, now I've done it too small. Let's do something like that. So we're just going to cover it and we'll see whether that makes a difference. I'm thinking in theory it does. I've never actually tried it, so it's always good to try it on a video, right? So squeeze that through. It is a little bit tighter because we have got that little bit of extra. Even though paper's thin, it makes a big difference in your machines. So no, it still left me with texture, so it was a good try. In theory, it was working right in my head. I assume that if you had a bigger piece, it would be fine. So you can see that I've got little bits of texture on my foil. But like I said, I don't mind. It's turned into a masculine card. I think you could give it as a female card. It doesn't really matter. But because there's a lot of texture going on in my card, I didn't quite mind. See, there we go. And no one is ever going to know that those die cuts are there. So let's get this out of the way. Packs all up nice and easily, and we will move on. I think we're pretty much up to the assembly part of the card now. We've got all our bits and pieces. Okay, I'll grab that. Do believe I have everything now. Okay, so we're working with a base of soft succulent. So I have already scored that, so it just makes your folding a little bit easier, and then running it over the back with a bone folder to give you a nice flat card. Okay, then we're going to have a layer of our bronze and then our evening evergreen ferns as well. So we can adhere these guys together. So I'm just using my seal today. So you can use a liquid adhesive if you wish. Okay, I've probably put a little bit too much adhesive at the top, so it hopefully won't stick to my paper here. So there you go. Pop that down, and then this can go down onto my card base. So when you do have a piece of specialty paper, like your foils or anything that is a little bit, a little bit more special, and if you are die cutting from it, and you are using it for layers like this because it is a big piece, just die cut from the center. The other thing that you could do is just cut 2 thin strips. You could have cut 2 thin strips like that and then just adhered one on either side as well. That will save you from using up so much of your special paper as well. Okay, so next we are going to put our big fern down. Isn't that gorgeous? So I'm just going to put a bit of adhesive on. I tend to just put it on I don't do the whole thing, so I'm going to, whoops, it's poked through now. There we go. So I'm going to pop that around there. So I'm just popping the adhesive on the bottom because this way I can grab these little wheat, I think they're wheat. I'm not really sure what they are actually, and then I can pop them under like so. So just lift that up a little bit if it's gone. We can put that one up a little bit higher because I'm actually going to put one of those brass ones down. So a bit of adhesive again. And I've popped that one underneath. Actually, do you know what? It doesn't matter if that one slides through. It just wants to do that, so I'm going to let it, because it's all going to get covered with my sentiment anyway, so it won't matter. Stick that down. All right. I will use a liquid glue for this one. This is the easiest one. It is a contraband, so it's the easiest one for me though, but I use that one. So I'm going to slip this one down under here as well. And then this one I will pop over the top. I have tried to use other liquid glues and I end up in a mess. I do not get along with them. So there's a few, not too many things that aren't Stampin' Up, but this is one of them. All right, pop that down. Okay, let's grab some adhesive. And I'm just going to pop 3 down because I want to tuck that last little brass leaf underneath. Oop. And then that's going to cover all of that mess. Like that. And then last little one. So you could pop that up here. I'm going to pop it just down under here. I will pop that on top just to hold it so that the glue gives a moment to stick. So this brushed paper comes in, I've got a little bit of adhesive there, I'll get that off after, comes in the brass, brass. I think it's called brass. I should get my catalogue out and actually have a look. So brass, copper and gold, and then we have the matching brushed metallic adhesive backed dots. I've already used all my gold ones and I'm probably going to finish off using all my brass ones, but we also have the copper here. So I think I need to pull out some copper paper and start playing so I can use up all of those dots. So, okay, now I'm just going to pop down a couple of these so they match the foil perfectly. Whoop. 2 there, and I think I will have 2 left over. Another one there, and the gold ones are really pretty. They're really shiny. So, but I have used all of them up. So it's not often that I go through a whole packet of an embellishment, but I definitely have this time. I love them. Okay, so that is our card finished. So there are our 2 cards. They're a little bit different. Of course, every time you make a card, they never sit exactly the same, but that's the great thing about card making, isn't it? Every one of them is individual and unique. So hopefully you enjoyed that in a different colorway other than the blues and the grays. My class that will come out on the 1st of May will be using blues and grays, and I have managed to just use 1 ink pad for the whole 6 cards. So that is really good. So if you're in Australia, you can purchase there's 2 options for, well actually there's 3 options. If you're in Australia, you can purchase the full suite class that I have, or you can choose one that if you've already got the bundle. And then I have a 3rd option, which is a PDF only, and they are available to everyone all of the time. There's actually a place on my blog where you can purchase past PDFs as well. And then if you're a demonstrator and you want to teach that same class in your country, then you are more than welcome to. I do create the cards in inches and centimeters, and they are also in a size that will fit all of the markets envelopes. So they're a little bit of a different card size than everybody actually, but I've tried to tailor them to fit all the markets. Yeah, so I will be going live on Thursday morning, and hopefully you can enjoy me. We are going to play with this set one more time. I have made a card, but I think I want to alter a little bit so you can get interactive with me and help me switch it up a little bit. So, but thank you very much for watching. If you do enjoy my videos, don't forget to subscribe, and we will see you again another time soon. Bye.